Hello, it's 7 p.m. in state-controlled Britain, where we have two-tier policing, but we have fantastic guests. And tonight we have the wonderful Lee Copus. Hi, Lee.
Hi.
That was not what I was expecting. Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
How's your week been? Has it been good?
Not too bad. Just window cleaning is my priority at the moment. Get the money in. Going to Spain soon, and I. So.
Are you? What's happening in Spain?
Well, Anthony Chafee couldn't go. Sarah Pugh couldn't go, and I thought, well, I possess all their good qualities, so I'll go instead.
Yeah, that's good. I'm out there as well. Do you know that?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
You're paying for the taxi at the other end, aren't you, mate?
Yeah. Well, paying for something. I don't know what. Right. So it's quite a quiet night for viewers at the moment. We'll let them all come in. Let's have a look if there's any questions just for people that don't know. You can ask questions. Just put a Q in front of your question so it pops out, and that'd be great. And if you want to support us with a super chat, that's always good too. Lee, we don't see you enough actually. I think it'd be great to know when your next video's out actually, because it's always good when you tomorrow.
Yeah, it's not like anything crazy. I'm still working on a really big project that's going to require a lot of editing. But I thought it was time to put out another video about gut health, IBD, my unique insight having a bag, what I have learned basically from losing my colon, which is a great deal actually. And hopefully it will be quite interesting for people that still have their gut. You know, perhaps they've got IBD, they've been recently diagnosed with some kind of gut issue. And they want to know what it's all about. And I didn't know what certain foods look like and how egregious certain things could be, mushrooms and things like that, until I wound up with the bag. And then that actually made me think, well, all this plant material, all this fibrous stuff that's sort of going in the bag in big chunks kind of thing, even though I thoroughly chewed it, that was then about to enter the organ that was riddled with disease. And so it makes perfect sense. I kind of wound up in surgery, really, in hindsight.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things is very powerful about the fact you wear a bag now is you know exactly what goes through your small intestine and what rots in the colon, and it isn't meat. I mean, this is the thing we say time and time again, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's trying to get the story across, because I always get the similar kind of questions and challenges based on what I've said, and I'm like, right, I'm still not expressing myself clearly enough, obviously, because people are still baffled. I think it's pretty important to note that we've absorbed all the nutrition by the time whatever I see is going in my bag, right? I would already absorbed the nourishment in my small intestine. So if I'm looking at a whole little baby button mushroom and half a chunk of broccoli floret, you think, well, what good was that? You know?
Yeah. It's just amazing gut health. I did a video about the migratory motor complex, which is a 22 amino acid polypeptide, which when you don't eat for 4 hours, approximately, it starts cleaning up and getting rid of food debris. And so many people said they never even heard of it. So I'm going to make that a little bit more prominent as we talk about gut health. But it's well studied and well known. And that's something you can do to help your gut health. Just make sure that you're not eating. Once you've finished, once you've had your drink, once you've had your food, don't snack, don't graze for at least 4 hours. And that MMC comes into action. And what it does, it's like a cleanup operation. It's literally the housekeeper of the gut. And you're going to be able to reap the benefits, not reek. Well, reek if you nip to the toilet too much. But anyway, right. We do have a question, actually. I haven't read it because I've been listening to you. So how do you compare glycogen and fat as fuel in weightlifting? Do we need glucose for high performance? No.
No.
And I think even Professor Tim Noakes has just released some studies where glycogen literally was irrelevant in performance. What was more relevant was blood glucose, actually. Blood glucose levels or ketone levels and how fat adapted you were. Glycogen had very little impact whatsoever. So we have many. It's a shame Richard's not here tonight, because he's an athlete, a pro bodybuilder. We got Jonathan in the house. He definitely does not fuel himself on glucose, and his pictures are pretty awesome. So, yeah, I think experience shows that we don't really need that. Here's one for you. I think we've got DC. I don't know if that's the DC, but anyway, what would you suggest to someone suffering from slow digestion and related bloating, constipation? Thoughts on migrating motor complex stimulation? That was quite weird.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I've just said what I said.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of that, for me, it depends. I suppose if you're coming from the context of being on a carnivore diet of sorts, then my suggestion would be take out cheese and things like dairy, and then perhaps work onto eggs if you don't get sort of relief. Again, there's this antagonistic effect, it seems, from calcium and magnesium. If you think about when we have constipation, we tell people to have magnesium citrate, right? But also calcium can actually have the opposite effect. Lots of people suffer from constipation when they have too many eggs, too many dairy, or they're just not good on any dairy or eggs at all whatsoever because of that calcium, and that seems to have a massive effect on things like constipation and stuff like that. So yeah, just play around, take out dairy first, and then perhaps have a look at your eggs. You know, I'm pretty much eating a lion diet and some wild fish. You know, I'm not going to say that I'm never going to have eggs again or anything like that. I think if I really fancy some eggs, I'll dish up some eggs. But I seem to do great without eggs. It's not like I'm really missing them. It's funny when you take things out as well, you sort of don't even have the taste for it. It's like chicken on carnivore as well. A lot of people, they used to eat a lot of chicken. They take it out, they go carnivore, and they don't even want chicken. All they crave is steak and, or maybe eggs and fish and things like that. So that's what I would suggest. Other than that, you know, moving a healthy amount, and drinking enough water. Don't overdrink water.
Yeah, absolutely. We sound like broken records on that, but people, I think, eventually will listen. Nancy has donated $4.99 in a super sticker, which is absolutely fabulous. Thank you, Nancy. That's really good. And we've got Jonathan saying, I feel like the stream's a shadow banned. I absolutely agree. I think definitely suffering from YouTube not liking what we talk about. Here we go. So next question. Stoker 261. I'm reading and seeing conflicting information on protein. I was told to eat small meals, 50 grams. I think that might have a continuation. Let me just scroll down to see. Oh yeah, here we go. Or less. Apparently seniors have an issue processing it. What do you think? 61 years old. Well, I'm 61 years old, so this is very pertinent to me. The myth of 30 grams per meal is exactly that, 30. There have been extensive studies where people have been on 20 grams compared to 40 grams, and the 40 grams was much better. Another study where they tried 100 grams, and they did really well. In fact, that study actually concluded there doesn't seem to be an upper limit to protein. And the thing is, a lot of the studies are a bit too focused on protein synthesis, whereas they don't also look at the protective role that protein plays, you know, so that protects muscle rather than, you know, builds it as well. And there's just yes, there is conflicting information. Yes. There was another study where they had 86 grams of protein in one meal, and then they did 86 grams of protein spread over three meals, and there was very little difference. So I think it's down to individuality. If you feel good on one meal a day and you're thriving and you feel like you're getting the results you want, then, you know, eat that way. But I wouldn't actually go by any number. I would go on how you look and feel and what results you're getting, and hunger and satiety, really. I think that's what I would do.
Nothing to add there, really. That's what I was going to say. I wouldn't try and think that you need to reach the same numbers as everybody else. What are the chances? Yeah. It's just an impossibility, isn't it?
Oh no, it's crazy. Oh, I've got another super chat. Thank you very much. Let's just have a look at that. It is from Adam the Advanced. Keep educating people, guys. Always appreciated, and that's £10. And now that, you know, these things make a big difference, the super chats. So even if it's £2, it's all appreciated, and it really helps us both, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I used to not believe that until I started getting them. And it was like, wow, they do. You know, when you hear other influencers saying it, first time you do this. Let's have a look at the next question, which might be, why does the blood glucose increase during exercise or digestion of high protein meal? I understand the body needs more energy, but why in the form of glucose and not fats and ketones? Do you want me to do that?
Yeah, go on.
Sorry.
You go, mate. You understand it better than I do. You'd be able to express it better.
Well, no, you have a poplar. You're the guest. I don't want
The body sees it necessary. Yeah. It's metabolic homeostasis the whole time. That's really what it comes down to. Whatever you're doing, it's metabolic homeostasis all the time. Different ratios, different, nutrients and hormones balancing each other out just to keep you alive, just keep you ticking over. We do need glucose, absolutely, but we might ramp that up, via gluconeogenesis from fats mostly, not proteins and bone and things like that. But yeah.
Oh, how much protein do you eat?
No idea,
Do you
mate.
reckon?
Absolutely no idea. I used to know when I was sort of bodybuilding back in the day, eating all these protein supplements and protein bars, carb bars and all that nonsense. I have no idea. I just eat to satiety every single day. And usually I get a pretty strong sort of satiated feel on the fat first. Then I'll continue with some protein until my body goes, right, you've had enough. And that's it. Maybe if I'm a bit peckish later, I might, do another small meal, have some broth or something like that. I'm keeping some broth going all the time recently. So I've always got sort of like a cup in the fridge. But yeah, no idea. I don't track or count anything. I don't get blood tests. I don't take supplements. I don't care about what numbers I have on anything. It's meaningless to me. So
yeah, it is. I mean, that's a thing. Oh, another super chat. Let's just go to that, which is great. Can't keep up, which is it's really appreciated. £2 one. Fast, eat beef. Fast longer, eat beef. Yep, that good. That's really good. I think I'm up to date with the super chats. And then we get into the next question here. This is definitely one for you, Stephen. Would appreciate your expert thoughts. Recently received abnormal blood film test result, normochromic, normocytic, or cytic, however you want to describe it. That just means cells, by the way. Some toxic granulation of neutrophils and occasional reactive lymphocytes. So that's I don't know what you want me to say, because there isn't really a question there. There's more sort of just a bunch of statements, really. But the first part, the normochromic, is red blood cells have the normal amount of color. So I think I've done a little thing before where if you imagine your camera or your screen is a sensing zone, when blood passes the sensing zone like a red blood cell, that what they look at is the color and the shape and the size. So if it's normocytic, they're normal in size. So that's that. That's a red blood cell that isn't. Sorry, that's a red blood cell that isn't. So those two things, quite interesting. So there's no anemia in that statement. Some toxic granulation of neutrophils and occasional reactive. Yeah, right. Okay, so the neutrophils are white blood cells, but that is just showing that they're more sort of dark and coarse granules in the cytoplasm under the microscope, which isn't normal. This isn't a medical platform, by the way, so it's just for information. I can't tell you what to do. I can just give you the information. So there should be, somebody should have given you a little bit more to, so you knew what was going on, really. Reactive lymphocytes basically is, they look a bit bigger than the regular normal ones. So when it's called a complete blood count, I just want people to know they used to actually look under a microscope and count these things, which they don't do unless there is something flagged up. And, just using that little thing as an example, with the red blood cell that size, that goes through the sensing zone and it gets counted as a red blood cell, and that looks like a platelet, you see. So that is a platelet, and that goes through and that gets counted. But if you have a platelet that's as big as a red blood cell, the electronic sensing zone might actually count that as a red blood cell, not a platelet, and vice versa. If you've got a tiny little red blood cell, they might count that as a platelet. So it's all very confusing when they start using the sensing and no one's actually looking. But, you know, with that, obviously someone's looking. But hopefully that helped with some of the terminology. Hope that, did that make sense to you, Lee?
Enough sense to me,
Yeah, good. Okay, so let's go to the next thing. Hi, guys, looking good there, Lee. That's what Paul says.
Whee!
Yeah. Who has a dog? Chat. Someone's put there, which I don't understand. Right, here's another question. Have you heard this? Can too much protein cause hair loss? Had changed fat protein ratio from 18 to 20, so 80% fat, 20% protein by calories, not by weight, to 70-30. Experienced hair loss afterwards for 10 days, back to 85-15, and hope for the hair loss to stop. I mean, the thing is, how long did that take to happen? Because hair grows in cycles. You know, it's not a case of if you eat something today, tomorrow your hair will change. It takes about 3 months for it to actually, any impact of diet to go through. So I've not heard of that, too much protein. I've heard of not eating enough causing hair loss.
Yes, yeah. That's what I thought. That's exactly my thought.
Yeah. Right. Okay. It's funny having someone in the room that's not talking all the time. I'm missing young Richard, but we're going to get you coming out of your shell in a minute. Right. Kathy, any advice for a 64-year-old female struggling with energy at 1 month in? I can get over 100 grams of fat and somewhere around 75% fat by calories. Calories are 1,800 plus. 5'9", 130 pounds. Don't want to lose weight.
I would like to know how many meals, when you're eating those meals, when you're getting up, your sleep, you know, what your lifestyle's like, movement, activity, all this kind of stuff. Struggling for energy. You might want to increase protein. You might want to increase the frequency in which you're eating. If you're trying to do 1 or 2 meals a day, that might not be beneficial for you. It might be that you're eating beneficial foods, you're just not getting enough in, potentially. I don't count. That's the thing. A lot of this stuff, these numbers and calories, it's like, it doesn't mean too much to me. So yeah, it's just a matter of playing around with how much fat, how much protein. Another thing is, are you cooking it all the way through? I found that when I cook things all the way through, I don't feel as good. I feel a little bit more sluggish. I got to drink more water. You know, if you back off the cooking process a little bit, I feel like I'm just fueled. I'm fueled better. So you might want to play around with all sorts as well. You know, frequency of meals, timing, etc. And then your sleep-wake cycle. You might want to just get up and ground, spend some time outside. Sometimes actually exercising more, I feel like I have more energy as well. You know, if you make more of an effort, if you know, when you take a day off and you don't do anything and you're tired and you're like really peckish all the time, sometimes like you want to do the opposite to what you think. But it's just a matter of playing around, because you're the only you out there, you know, and it's a matter of experimenting until you find your optimal carnivore way of eating.
Yeah, brilliant answer, Lee. Just trying to keep on top of the questions. So let's have a go at this. We sort of touched on this, but it's a different person. Juha 7830. Is there an upper limit for protein intake when you are resistance training hard for maximum muscle fiber growth, muscle protein synthesis? Well, there's always you can have too much of anything, but your body, it's very difficult for you to get there because your body has things called satiety signals to stop you doing that, or it becomes unpleasant to eat. I would say from the studies, it's very difficult to find a limit. Like I say, one of the studies just quoted earlier, they were doing 100 grams of protein per meal and still came to the conclusion that they could have gone further. So I don't think so. I think under eating is a bigger problem, but yeah, I can't think that there is an upper limit other than your own personal threshold where you're not enjoying it anymore and you go to eat it and you feel quite sick and adverse to it. But yeah, I don't think there should really, when we give a calculation, Richard is big on giving calculations and I do as a rule of thumb, because people seem to want that, where we say like 1 gram of protein for 1 pound of lean body mass. That's sort of like a minimum, really. just a launching point. And we always talk about weight rather than calories. So, you know, it's 1-to-1. And roughly speaking, you know, if you look at a steak that's 400 grams, then you've got about 100 grams of protein in there, because it's roughly, you know, 25% of the weight is protein. So it's pretty straightforward, really. Just make sure you eat enough. If your muscles are growing to your satisfaction, you probably need to up the protein. And also your meal timing can make a difference. And we'll get into richer territory as well. You like to have enough leucine to elicit the mTOR, you know, the growth factors, to make sure that that's happening. But I would also have the 4-hour gap in between to get the optimum gut health. So, yeah. Did you want to add, Lee?
I'm sure there is a limit, right? Like you said, everything, there's a limit, but protein's one of those almost exceptions where it's so difficult. You probably achieve drinking too much water before you'd achieve eating too much protein, because it's so difficult to do. You could probably drink and gulp and go, wow, I've had too much water. But how are you going to do that with protein? I suppose unless you're just drinking it, you know. But yeah, another thing you can try is just make sure you're having enough fat with that, and the associated fat with the protein that you're eating is very important, because it just makes it that much more anabolic, you know, that much more bioavailable, and therefore anabolic. Eggs, that's why eggs are so fantastic with bodybuilding, and even milk. I'm not a massive fan of milk. You know, you have got some great muscle building fuel there, you know, and nutrition. So you might want to try and play around with things, but yeah, I wouldn't worry about the protein.
No, that's good. Right, let's go to the next thing. I'm getting good at this. I feel like I know what I'm doing now. I've been doing it for a long time. Andrew McGee, 1666. Wow, the year I was born. I'm carnivore. I'm trying to help my brother. My 38-year-old brother was experiencing supposed kidney failure, and he's on dialysis. I keep getting told carnivore is bad for dialysis patients. Well, if you've got a damaged kidney, too much protein is a problem, but then too much of anything is a problem. Too much phosphorus, too many electrolytes, too much water, all of that, because the filtration of your kidney is compromised a bit because the function has gone down. But you definitely need protein to repair your kidney, and it's not damage. Protein is not damaging to the kidney. But now you've got the dialysis going on, you're probably better to look at managing the electrolytes. And I would guess he's probably there because he's diabetic as well. So you don't want high levels of glucose. Definitely not, because that will put the blood pressure up, and don't want to drink too much water. But like I say, it's not medical advice. Andrew, if you want to email me, I will send you my protocol, which I give out to people. I've had people reverse their kidney function, get off peritoneal dialysis, see the return of function, the EGFR going up, and there are better tests as well, like the cystatin C. It's a much better test for kidney function. The filtration rate of a kidney is impacted by dietary protein. It's also impacted if you're using the blood urea nitrogen as a proxy marker. If you're using EGFR, then creatinine, which is a waste product from the muscles, that will go up on this way of eating, and that will make your EGFR allegedly go lower. So you need to get the proper data as well. So a cystatin C, statin bit is nothing to do with medication. It's a protein that the body produces, and it doesn't get affected by your diet, and it's pretty much going unscathed through the kidney. So it's a great marker. Did you want to add to that, Lee?
Just that, if you think about it, yeah, your protein, I mean, I suppose this is a true argument you can make of even herbivores, but your proteins are made out of kidneys. We as human beings are not going to start healing and recuperating and rebuilding your kidney out of carbohydrates. That's not going to happen. So you are having to consume, hopefully, fats and proteins, but it's just obviously about context. So maybe just go slow, just like if you didn't have a gallbladder. Yes, you kind of go carnivore. Yes, your body still requires fats, but just go slow, go easy, because you don't want to overwhelm your body when you don't have a gallbladder with a lot of fat. So it's just context. So just take it easy, and yeah, just have confidence, really, because like I say, you're not going to build your kidney back and build back function out of carbohydrates. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah, cool. Excellent stuff. This is why I asked you to come on, because, you know, you're a great guy and you're very knowledgeable, actually. I think you should be out there more. That's what I think. Stephen, I made your fatty latte yesterday. Bloody scrumptious. Yes, it is. And for those that don't know, it's a no coffee alternative. I've actually now been coffee free for quite a long time, and dairy free for quite a long time. And it's a beautiful replacement. 100 milliliters of water, which you boil up, 2 egg yolks, pinch of salt, a little bit of vanilla extract. Yes, I know there's no such thing as the vanilla animal, but I like the vanilla extract. So to your 2 raw egg yolks, 100 milliliters of boiling water, a little bit of salt, and 35 grams of butter. Stick it in a thing, whiz it all up, and you have what's called a fatty latte, which I picked up the recipe from Coach Cherish when I was at the Steak and Butter Gang. And because now I've dropped the coffee completely, I thought I'd bring it back. And it is fabulous. It's absolutely fabulous. You're right, bloody scrumptious. Have you ever had, do you drink coffee, Lee?
Not really. I've never really got into the habit. Tea as well. I'm just not really a hot drinker over here in the UK. As a window cleaner, people think I'm very strange because I get asked a lot when I have new jobs, and then it takes a few months and then they stop asking. They realize I'm just like, no, I'm all right. Yeah, I mean, every now and again, like when we do these carnivore conferences and things, I'll often just have a coffee then. It's just it's like when in Rome. It's just really random. But no, I don't drink coffees or teas or anything. Just water, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Yeah. If someone offers you a drink and you don't take it, some people find that it seems to them that you're being rude, but you're not, are you? It's just you don't want that drink.
Some people bring out a tray with bloody Kit Kats on and everything, like a tea and Kit Kats and like an apple. I think they're doing me a favour. Like, here you go, here's an apple, mate. All right.
Yeah, and it's interesting because tea's got fluoride in, and some people find taking tea out of their diet helps their thyroid function. But we won't get into that because that's still controversial. But anyway, right, let's have a look. What's your take on creatine? I know that's creatine. I think that was a typo, corrected later. HCl form. Well, basically it's a monohydrate, isn't it? It's bonded with hydrochloric acid, so it is supposed to be more water soluble, and therefore the absorption is allegedly better. So this is where you want someone like Richard or Jonathan really to answer. Yes, it makes it dissolve easily in water. That's it, basically. And most of the big influencers do recommend this particular way of taking creatine because the monohydrate is excellent. That's what they think. So it's creatine monohydrate with a hydrochloric chloride acid or group attached to get it correct. So anyway, yes, the solubility in water is dramatically increased. That's it. That's the posh way of saying it. But yeah, that's why. I mean, Jonathan might pop a comment in on whether he thinks it's worth having. I think protein, the best way to get protein is in whole food, personally. Lower deuterium. And that water, of course, you're better to drink or have metabolic water from the food rather than drinking from a tap. I wouldn't touch tap water, for instance. So, right. We've got another super chat. Sorry, that has thrown me. So let's get that up on there because that's the whole point of the super chats for people to jump the queue. Oh, look at that. Andrew McGee. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm looking for any information I can find. Thanks for your help. That's really appreciated. So the email is zerocarbcoach@gmail.com. Another thing you could consider is actually joining the school group. So Lee isn't part of the school group, but Richard Smith is, and myself. You want to know what it is all about? Let me just hide that. It's a group, and you can join basically anytime you like. And there's like a sort of Facebooky sort of thing, but with nice people that don't jump all over you if you write something that you don't like or they don't like. And you get lots of questions and lots of answers and recipes, those sort of things. And what I really like also is we have a classroom. And we've added something to the classroom. So we have a standard membership, which is so inexpensive for what you get. We do 3 lives a week. So there's going to be one after this is finished. But also there's all these brilliant lessons, which has ebooks and it has videos. And when you get to level 8, the more active you are in the group, the better it is. You can get 3 of my books completely free, but you've got to be in the group and you've got to be a little bit active. But what we've also added, this is premium content. So now there are lots of videos giving you really, really in-depth stuff. There's loads of notes as well. Totally into absolutely everything, thyroid panel. And yeah, it's really good. I'll put a link in the description, and then you can choose between a standard membership or a premium one if you want. And here we are. You see, now this is the calendar, and look at all this. We've got you know, a live on Monday at 6 p.m. coming up. I do a live on Wednesday. Here we are over here, 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock. We got a live. So there you go. That's all of that. Let's get rid of that now. And you offer a service, don't you, Lee?
I'm currently offering a service called Let Lee Explain. And the whole idea around it is that many of us carnivores, we experience friends, relatives, people around us that are close to us. They think we're nuts. You know, we even when we tout all the benefits, they think that that we're in potential danger with our colons and our health and heart disease and colon cancer and all this sort of stuff. So basically the idea is that you book a call on behalf, you book a call for your loved one, and that person will have a video call with me, and it'll just be a calm, open conversation, trying to put their mind at rest, explaining why it is that we're eating this way, why they don't need to worry, and who knows, maybe it will plant a seed and they can jump on some kind of carnivore diet for themselves, you know. So that's the idea. But hopefully by next weekend, I will be setting up shop on School myself. I would like to start a community, and obviously with your guys' help, you know, you can potentially give me some honest feedback. You know, what is it that you want to see? And together we can build this really nice community over in School as well. So,
yeah. Oh, and that'll be live next week, will it?
Hopefully, yes. By next weekend,
Excellent.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. About time. Yeah, that's a good idea. And if you need any help, mate, you know, just give me a nudge and I'll help you with it. Right. Lorraine Baxter. Not a question, but just wanted to say to all those who have started healing and think they can add back some keto veggies, it may be a mistake. I tried and it flamed me so bad I thought I would die. I mean, that's the thing that many people do. And they, you know, they talk about reversing type 2 diabetes, which I've had hundreds of people do that. And then the people in the family or friends or on social media, when I talk about it or have them on as a success story, yes, but if they go back to eating carbs, they'll be diabetic again. I'm like, yep. So what should they not do? And I think this is what Lorraine is getting at. You do fall into the trap where you forget how bad you felt and what made you feel bad in the first place. You go back to it and you feel bad again. You know, so have you ever done that, Lee? Have you ever felt, oh, I really fancy going back to the thing that got rid of my colon? You're muted, I think.
It's just told me there. It's quite clever, isn't it? You're muted. You're an idiot. Turn it off. Right. I'll often smell something nice that reminds me of something that I used to enjoy. But for me, it's just too dangerous. You know, like I'm definitely a sugar addict. So it's not like I'm going to want to add anything that gives me like that sweet sensation, anything that tastes remotely sweet, because I couldn't even moderate milk very well. And I never used to think milk was that sweet until I went carnivore, stayed on track for like, you know, when I say stayed on track, I'm just talking about very, very little to almost zero carbohydrate. Not that that's a real thing because it's glycogen in meat, etc. But to actually incorporate milk back in the diet, all of a sudden it was like, oh my goodness, that is so sweet. And it's just so dangerous for me. And so, you know, I think a lot of these, I'm not really interested in talking about it too much. I'm not interested in all the drama and stuff. I don't want to call out names, but people that are adding carbs back in, that's fine. You're open and you're honest about it. You're documenting it. There's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. Just bear in mind that there are people that are watching that may be influenced to do the same, right? They're actually just doing it because they think, well, this person's more experienced than me, that they've been doing carnivore for longer than me. You know, maybe I should start doing this now before I run into the problems that they've run into, even though, no offense to anyone, there were no problems I could see. You know, chasing numbers is not the way to go. Again, just like micromanaging your biota in your gut, don't try and do that. Just eat what you're supposed to eat and your gut will take care of itself. You know, your inputs, your diet, your lifestyle. If you are eating appropriate foods for our speciation, you're eating lots of fatty ruminant meat, everything you're eating is local, even if it is plants. I don't care what you eat, but if what you're eating is local, well, you're on the right track. That makes more sense. You know what I mean? But yeah, for some people, they can't even do that. I can't just, oh, strawberries are in season. Our ancestors would have eaten strawberries if they were in season. So, hey, every day I'm going to go out and eat a punnet of strawberries. That would be so bad for me. I think not only is it going to probably kick me out of ketogenesis, I'm probably going to be very moody. If I keep doing it, I might end up depressed. I don't want to do that. And again, it's something about when you introduce carbohydrates and sweet, all of a sudden, who's in control of the food? It's almost like the food is. I don't like that either. I like to be in control of as much as possible in my life. And food and diet and lifestyle is one of those things I can control very well. So I'm an abstainer as well, and all the while I don't attempt to moderate. I'm golden. It's easy. It's no breeze. Life on easy mode. But the moment I try and introduce something, like I did even milk, and that's still technically carnivore, forget about it. That's so risky, slippery slope. So yeah, tread carefully if you're going to do that. And if you do fall off the wagon, don't beat yourself up too much. Just, well, there's always tomorrow, until there's not.
Yes. I wonder if we've lost Jonathan. I was just flicking through to see if Jonathan had actually
I haven't seen
added anything. No, he's probably got bored with me. Right. Which is easy, really. Right. Let's have a look. Next question. That was Lorraine, wasn't it? So let's do this one. Right. Okay. Are you worried about iron overload? How to avoid it as red meat heavy carnivore? Many illnesses are iron related. Bacterial infections, for example, blood donation, maybe your copper supplement. This is an interesting question, as I feel it's a little bit confused. One of the biggest deficiencies in the world is actually iron. Most people are iron deficient, not overloaded. And I think this thing about red meat and iron overload is frankly rubbish. I mean, I've done 16 years of doing this, of which, 11 is low carb, 7 is keto, and the last 6 has been carnivore. And I've done loads of bloods, over a decade of private blood testing. I've never seen anyone really with iron overload. It's because people don't know what ferritin is. So I will just say ferritin is a stored form of iron, but it's also an acute phase reactant. So if you have an infection, your ferritin will go up, and that's good because the ferritin is locking the iron away from any of the pathogens and all the nasties that are trying to attack you, because they need iron to live on. So it's the body being smart, really. And there is a lot of misconceptions about iron. So plant iron is non-heme iron. It's not very good for you, and it needs a lot of processing. It needs a lot of vitamin C. Lee's now going to fall asleep while I talk about vitamin C ferroreductase, which is needed to reduce non-heme iron to heme, because we have to have heme iron. That's the only bioavailable iron that we've got in our body that we can do anything with. Ferritin, like I say, is a storage form. It's a huge protein. It's designed to have 4,700 molecules of iron in there, and it's protective. Actually, what we found is high ferritin is actually protective. Protects the cells against oxidization, and suppresses MPO, which is an indicator of problems with the heart. So iron is very good. It's very good. So you need the full panel. Serum iron is one of the things that's in the panel. That's just telling you how much iron is in the blood. Then you need what's called the TIBC, the total iron binding capacity. There are things in the blood called transferrin, and they are the things that take the ferritin around. And you can either have apoferritin, or you can have di or mono, and that's how many seats there are. So then you've got the unbound iron binding capacity, which shows you how much space there is to move iron around. And I tell you what, it's very rare that people are just absolutely loaded with iron. The T-stat, the transferrin saturation, is very rarely over 60%. So that means the body has a capacity to move even more iron around. And the reason you talk about copper supplementation is because when the iron leaves the cell and has to be transported around, it goes on ceruloplasmin, which is a protein that requires copper. And also there is one other enzyme, hefstatin, I think it's called Hephaestin. It's from the Greek god for iron and forging fire. Anyway, this enzyme is copper dependent. So if you want decent iron in your body and decent iron transport, you have to have some copper. So this being scared of copper is actually quite bad, because you have what's called a labile pool of iron in every cell, and then it goes off to ferritin, and then it gets transported out. If there's any excess that can't be transported out, you then get what's it called? You get a different form of iron in the cell. I can't remember what it's called at the moment. But anyway, that's something that is bad, and you don't really want. So you do need some copper to move your iron around, but we need to stop worrying about iron, because I think actually being deficient is a much bigger problem. Also, people say you cannot get rid of iron. Well, that's ridiculous. There's iron in your poop every single day, and your gut lining has mucosal ferritin, and that is your small intestine, and your mucosal ferritin is completely changed every single 4 days. So we lose iron that way. So you don't have to do therapeutic phlebotomy. That can help. And obviously, if you're a female and you have a menstrual cycle, you should obviously look at your iron levels. Hopefully you've got enough iron, rather than worrying about iron overload. So it's a big subject. Did you want to add to that, Lee?
I don't usually do this, but me and Stephen actually made a video very close to about a year ago, off the top of my head, all around iron and iron overload. There's a lot of information in that video that might clear up any kind of things that you're not 100% on. So feel free to have a look on my channel. It's basically just a thumbnail, sort of red and blue. It just says iron overload, something like that. Should we give blood? Something like that on the title. But there's plenty of information in that video. Yes.
Okay. Right. Let's have a look. I think we definitely have lost Jonathan, because he's not commented.
Yeah.
That's a shame, isn't it? Right. Let's get to the next question then. Iron overload. I don't even remember doing that. But Adam is saying, I'm sure most of the markers mainstream doctors use are based on people's blood work on a normal, shall we say, diet of high carbs. Yep. That's exactly what's wrong with the normative ranges. We don't match that cohort. All the ranges are based on people not being optimal when eating 45 to 65% carbohydrates. Absolutely spot on. That is a big problem. Right. What's the next thing?
I think it's actually dangerous. If you think about it, to apply a number to everyone, even though everybody does different things, that's dangerous, because you're not really focusing on them as an individual. How reckless is that? Yet that's what's out there as kind of like a baseline standard, to aim for. Nuts, absolutely nuts.
Let's just go on to the next question then. Sorry, I'll put it on the screen. I'm currently training for building size, and I've started eating based purely on satiety signals. I have eaten 3 pounds before satiety kicks in, and the next meal I can barely eat. Yes, well, that's a nice chunk of meat that you're taking in there. Good that you've got the signals, though, to know when to stop. Yes, this is for you. I know you research heavily, Lee. Can you drop a link for your blue light blocking glasses?
I can't even remember the specific link, but yeah, I can. If I find it, I'll drop it in there. There's no affiliate or anything like this. I had to pay for this with all my own.
Do you know Jimbo then?
Jimbo's a subscriber of mine. Yeah, I've seen him many times. Right. So yeah, okay. I feel like I know him a little bit.
Yeah, it's funny. That name reminds me. Years ago, when I used to do my stand-up, I used to do a bit of stand-up in London at the Comedy Brew House, and a notorious guy there who didn't want to be famous or didn't want to go any further. He just liked doing local gigs. Was called Jimbo, and he was notorious for not having his act polished and being quite off the wall. Actually, just a very funny person. Some people, they just stand on stage and you think, that he's quite funny. And it was above a pub in Islington, and we had these blackout curtains at the back of the room, and that's where the stage was. We used to get about 70 people in, so it wasn't the most glamorous thing. People like Russell Brand used to drop in and do bits, and Alan Davis. Anyway, so the blackout curtains covered the windows and stuff like that. And one night, Jimbo was doing his act, and he was absolutely dying of death, which was very unusual. And he said, "I can't stand this anymore." pulled the curtains, opened the window, went out the window, and went down the drain pipe to go home.
What the hell?
So yeah, he was that sort of person.
Finding Jim.
Jimbo, yeah, I wonder where he is now. Probably just got home. Actually, knowing him, that was a long time ago. Right, we have Nicholas here saying, the ground beef coming back to my standard regime. Would cooking the patties super fresh and then storing them in the fridge be a good strategy for keeping histamines low? Freezing optional then. What do you think, Lee?
Not sure actually about that. I suppose I don't know whether that would make any difference in terms of histamines. I think if you just left the ground beef in the fridge and just wait a little bit longer until you're ready to eat it, it would be the same thing, I think.
Yeah, it'd be better to freeze it because it's not the protein. It's it's an amine, isn't it? It's an amino acid, an organic nitrogenous amine. So
ground beef isn't really the best option for you if you do struggle with histamines. It's kind of like it's going to age rapidly anyway. Every time I get ground beef, I always underestimate how much I need to freeze. It's like, no, you got to just take out pretty much what you're going to eat that day or the next day, and then the rest should be in the freezer because it starts to turn quite quick. But it's usually high in histamines, isn't it? So you want to probably focus a bit more on lamb, or if you can get some fresh meat and grind it up yourself, I suppose. Is that what you mean? That's probably what you mean.
Yes, that's better. Yeah, that's
fresh and then storing in the fridge. Yeah, you just have to try it, I'm afraid, really. I've tried all sorts of things, but...
Have you ever ground your own beef, then?
No, actually, no. Not for years and years. I remember doing it once out in a little machine, but no, not since Carnivore or anything like that. I go down Chart Farm and get to make up burgers and sausages, like 100% pastured for life beef patties and sausages and things like that, nothing else in it. So,
Yeah, I think... I think grinding if you really like the ground beef and you like the taste of it, or you find it convenient, I think grinding your own is a really good thing. And second, because you don't know when you buy ground beef, you don't know how long ago it was ground. And secondly, if you get some fresh meat and you freeze it and then thaw it for the day you're going to grind it, and that might be a much better way of doing it. Yeah. Cool. Metabolic water. Metabolic water is the liberation of water. Sorry, yes, I was reading the question in my head before I actually put it on the screen. What is metabolic water? Is it easy water? And what will increase this in my body? Metabolic water is the water derived from the liberation of water from fat in the animals that you eat. So it's low deuterium, which is hydrogen, that you want very little of it in your body because it's helpful with the electron transport chain to not have deuterium, which is a heavier version of hydrogen. Metabolic water doesn't have that, so you have a low deuterium state of water in your body. We don't get into the nuance like this normally. Easy water is, water that you basically put out in the sunlight, and then you have it. So that's a nice way of charging your water up. But the easiest way to get your water is through your food. Salmon is over 70% water. Ribeye is over 70% water. So
I thought the easy water was exclusion zone, like the lubrication, like gel fluid that sort of lines.
Yeah, it is. Yes. That's exactly what it is in your body. Yeah, but apparently you can, take your reverse osmosis water and put it out in the sunlight and actually charge it up to make that more beneficial.
I suppose. Yeah.
So, well, go on, expand on what you're saying, because that's really interesting.
No, I guess that's what I was doing. All I do is take a bottle of Voss water or a couple of bottles out of a night, basically not long done it. Before, usually, if it's cool, I'll stick it out there earlier, just put a very generous pinch of Celtic salt in the bottle, do the lid up and just sit it out there. It stays overnight, experiences the sunrise for a little bit. I go out there and then when I'm ready, I just take them in and drink them. But I just leave them out there. This time of year, I just keep leaving them outside. So when I fancy a sip of water, I just go to my doorstep and then just stick it outside again in front of the door. So yeah. It's lovely water as well. Body really likes it. I notice the difference.
Yes, definitely. Oh, wow. That's absolutely nailed on. We've got a place called Buxton near us where they have a spring bottling plant, but as part of their remit, they also have to allow you free access to the spring. And it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Right. Cruz, $10. Thank you very much, Cruz. Thank you for your feedback at school. That's really nice of you, mate. Do appreciate it. And I just put a question up and now it's gone. I'm not very good when I'm not with Richard. Richard gives me about 20 minutes on every answer to be able to find things, actually. Cami, thank you so much for everything that you're doing, by the way, in the chat. You're doing some good answering. Here we are. Carnivore Farm Mum. What do you think of drinking a glass of whole milk while new to carnivore as a transition food? Thank you.
Fine. I don't mind that at all. I don't mind any of these kinds of animal foods and, lots of chicken, even if you want to do what I call comedy carbs, basically things like, carnivore pizza, carnivore donuts, carnivore chocolate. I think these are great for stepping stones as long as you don't keep them in long-term, base your diets around them, because that's not really what it is to embrace a carnivore that's eating meat as it comes, as nature intended, So yeah, I think whatever works, you do whatever you need to do that's going to help you stay on track. Absolutely.
Excellent. Right. Okay. William is saying, hey, mate, love your videos. Where do you recommend to learn about biochemistry? I'm very interested in learning more biochemistry. Thanks. Well, I would actually recommend the school. This is what we did it for, because I get so many of these questions. If you sign up for the school and you go into the premium content, then that's the whole point. That's what I'm actually doing. I'm making it sort of easy to understand, lots of really good illustrations, load of PDFs, stuff you can keep. It isn't designed to just make you pay every month. If you want to download everything, there's no protection on the screens. If you want to copy and paste it, you can. That's it. So I think that's about the best place to go, personally. Interestingly, I mean, the people I like on YouTube, for instance, the people like Dr. Mike or Ninja Nerd are all very good. But when they talk about thyroid, for instance, they still think the T3 and T4 diffuse through the lipid bilayer, which they don't. They need the monocarboxylate transporter. Number 8 actually is the one that uses, and 10, and there's a couple of other ways. So they do it for a broad audience, but I like to get it exactly right. So yeah, just answering that. So yeah, that's what I would do, mate. And I'll put a link in the chat if you want to do that. All right. Yes. Check Morley Robbins. Yes, Morley Robbins is excellent. He talks about copper. I don't agree with his views on iron overload, but I certainly agree with what he thinks about copper. But I think if we join up what he's saying, people have iron problems because they don't have enough copper. And that makes total sense, because you can't get the heme iron around the body without the copper. So, yeah, that's interesting. I like him very much indeed. Do you know him, Lee?
I don't actually. Morley Robbins, are you talking about?
Yeah, very good.
Actually.
Okay. Let's have a look at this. DC rebuilding. Can you still have stand up in the commie state of England, or have they reverted to mime for fear of saying the wrong thing? No, you just stop being funny. That's basically.
Yeah, we could do that. You could do stand up. Just can't make any jokes about anything.
No.
Oh dear.
People are too. Here's one for you, by the way. Thanks, DC. I do want you on my channel. I'll keep trying to get you to contact me, but anyway, right. Mr. Beaumont, $4.99. Thank you very much. That's not his name, by the way. That's how much he's donated, which is really good. What would you suggest for someone with chronic gastritis as it pertains to fat irritation of the stomach lining and going carnivore? Lee, here's your time to sparkle, mate.
Well, I personally would just eat a lion diet. I would just eat a lion diet and fast. That's what I would do. Get your fat right, get your protein right, eat once, maybe a day, and fast in between time. That's what I would do. What would you do, Steve?
What I was trying to do was get the link for the last person. So if you want to sign up for the premium plan, there's the link. I would.
Complicated. It's really not complicated to me. Like all this nuance around like certain. Oh, I'm short in this amino acid. I need this one nutrient is low according to this one test. And what about this? What about that? It's like if you just eat species appropriately, you would never ever have to worry about what's that level like, what's this like, what's that like. You're addressing the diet properly. You don't then need to think about, like, this is just so obvious, but animals don't try and find certain nutrients to bring one nutrient up, and I'm getting too much of this, and I got this diagnosis and it's stressing me out. I've now got to take something else for my sleep. It's nonsense. They don't do that. They just eat species appropriately when they're hungry and stop when they're full. And that's all we need to do, really. There's obviously more nuance and complexity pertaining to individuals that have just lost a body part, just come out of surgery. They're already on some kind of medication. There's always nuance, but really the answer is always the same. Wherever your starting position is, slowly but surely, come away from the plants, the dairy, the glyphosate, the seed oils, the alcohol, the smoking, the snacking constantly, the blue light, all of this stuff, and basically base your diet around fatty ruminant meat that's local. Anything else that you're going to eat, I would say, make it fish, make it eggs, fermented dairy, and then the local ripe seasonal plants. You can't really go wrong. And I think if you are on medication, you are speaking to a medical professional, he's monitoring something, absolutely be very clear about what you're doing with your diet and your lifestyle so that they can understand, not that they'll understand the nuance, but they might be able to have a look at your levels and think, wow, he's overdosing on his medication. We need to pull back on that, that kind of stuff. So
brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd go back to what we said at the beginning of the program. Be mindful of the migratory motor complex and don't eat or add anything between the 4 hours, or at least 4 hours. So eat something, drink something, then don't do anything. No more inputs for 4 hours. Nothing, unless it's water. Water is fine. I would also avoid overloading your system with simple things like sparkling water, for instance. If you're getting bloating, then don't have carbonated water, because carbon dioxide in the water will still have to be processed. It becomes carbonic acid and can make you a little bit gassy, a little bit windy, a little bit bloated. So even the nuance of the type of water you have can help. But yeah, Lee's the man for this sort of stuff.
Broths are really great. I always forget that. Broths. And I have to remind myself, you think of Jessica Roman and her story about her daughter, broths is what saved that little girl's life. And every time that she found herself in dire straits, it was broth and fasting, that kind of thing. And until she could, actually eat and break down this food in the whole form kind of thing. But broths and fasting and just fatty red meat. Don't touch dairy. Don't touch plants. If you're going to cook your food, cook in animal fats and stay away from any oil in a bottle. That's one of my things. I don't care if it's olive oil. That's my thing. I don't like oils in a bottle. It's just like, I'm not being funny. Olive oil does not grow here. It's absurd to think how I would manage to get this glass bottle filled with olive oil, and as soon as that hits the pan, it oxidizes, and I don't really like it for the gut. So,
Animal fats are the best thing to do.
Exactly, yeah.
Tartan Shark is saying, geez, Rich, you look way different from when I met you at Keto Brain Healthy in Manchester.
South Africa was a tough time.
You probably look better, I think, better, cooler. Right. So that's it. Thank you, Lee, for doing that hour. I don't know if you want to come over and do half hour on school. It's entirely up to you.
I'm hogging the room at the moment, so I better jump off, to be fair. Yeah.
No, that's okay. But when you've got your school, if you need a guest,
absolutely.
feel free to
you will be the last person I contact.
That's good. Yeah. It's the least you can do.
Yeah, you'll be the first, mate. No worries.
Yeah. No, that's very nice. And for those people on YouTube that are on my channel, if you haven't seen Lee's channel, do go over and subscribe and watch the content, and you'll be absolutely amazed. It's brilliant. It's really funny and informative, and he's just a window cleaner.
That's me.
Yes. Oh, Sabretooth has just said something. Apparently Buxton Spring is owned by Nestle. Personally wouldn't trust it anymore. Well, you know what? That's made me. I'm going to question it. But anyway, yes, I feel your pain. I can't stand Nestle. They are not a good company. But anyway, any of the big food producers I don't like at all. Right. So YouTubers, thank you. If you're not going to join me in school, I put the link in a couple of times. You could come over. It will just be me. And that would be nice to see you over there for half an hour. I'm doing a Q&A. But I just want to thank Lee again before he gets off the screen. So thanks, Lee. Thanks for coming on.
Pleasure. You bet. Good to see you again.
Okay. And I hope you have a lovely rest of the Sunday.
Will do, man. Take care.